Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today what I wanted to do was compare the Solina that comes with the MPC to the Solina that is the Behringer version of it. I think the Behringer version of it is slightly more faithful to the original, but this is what I wanted to kind of look at today. I have seen some videos online of the remake compared to the original, and I think that they sound fairly close. Obviously, the MPC also sounds fairly close. We're talking about minute details here, but for a plugin and a hardware comparison, I think this is a good thing to look into because sometimes people want to know, is it worthwhile to get hardware if you even have the plugin? And since it's one of the stock plugins that comes with the MPC, why would you buy a Solina? Let's look into it. Maybe this is something curious, and maybe there's something to the sound that still retains value at a hardware level that somehow the software is not quite getting to. Let's find out. So the way I have it set up is I have the Solina on the MPC completely devoid of any extra effects or anything like that. It's a clean sound and it's only playing the lowest bass note. And then I have the MIDI of the MPC sending the signal to the Solina here. It's also playing the lowest bass note. Okay, so what we're comparing are these two. And I have the settings, if you can see like the sustain and crescendo and stuff like that. If you see also on the Solina here, I have the settings as similar as possible. A little bit of sustain, no crescendo. And I've attempted to make the volumes as similar as possible as well. There's a spectrum analyzer here set up in live where we can see the wave as well, and you can see the Solina here, right? And then you'll be able to see the Behringer here. So what I wanted to do right away is look at the resolution of the two waves, because let's look at the Behringer for a second, okay? If I hit the bass note, look at what's happening at the transients on the low part there. And if I go to the Solina, look what's happening down here. You see that? Comparing it to the Behringer, you see the purity of the waveform is different. I think that there's sometimes a higher resolution. That's kind of what I want to show you guys here, okay? So let's look at some of the other sounds. We can go cello, and also on the Solina, do the same thing. We go cello. So here's your waveform for the Solina. Okay, and let's go to the Behringer. So look at the harmonic down here. You see that? Solina, MPC. You see the harmonic down there? You see how it's less clear? It's a fuzzier resolution. That's kind of what I want to show you guys, okay? So let's keep going. Let's see what happens with the viola. Counting like 9 little sub-harmonics down there, 9 or 10. Let's look again at the Behringer, what that looks like. I would say fairly similar. I don't know. What do you guys think? Can you hear a difference? Behringer, MPC. The MPC sounds a little bit rounder maybe, and it's like duller. The Behringer sounds a little sharper. Let's go on to the next one. Let's check out the violin. This is the MPC and now the Behringer. Let's look at those waves real quick. Look at the MPC. Do you guys hear a difference? I mean, I do. I feel like the MPC lacks a little bit of focus somehow. I mean, it's like a softer version of it somehow. In the comments, why don't you guys let me know what you think? So again, when you're doing the comparison, the trumpet on the Solina doesn't seem to play lower than a C3. So let's look at that real quick. The Solina playing a C3. That's a trumpet sound. And then let's go back to the Behringer. Let's look at that wave real quick. I mean, you start to clearly hear a difference, I think, without even it necessarily being so hard to distinguish between the two. They definitely sound one brighter, one not as bright. Let's see what the horn sounds like on the Solina MPC. Okay, so this is kind of curious. On the Behringer, you can't only press horn. Seems to be the case that you have to press trumpet with it. Okay, so that's also something a little bit different. You can have trumpet by itself, but it doesn't seem like you can have horn by itself. Whereas on the Solina, you can have the horn and the trumpet. So you can have one or the other, but here you can have only both or none, okay? So that's another difference between the two. So I guess it would only be fair if we tested it trumpet and horn. That's the MPC. And that's the Solina on the Behringer. So softer, right? So the Solina MPC horns are brighter than the Behringer horns seem to be, okay? And again, the Solina's wave versus the Behringer wave. Look at the end here. Look at the difference here compared to this. You see that almost has like it's like a notch, I would say, maybe. It sounds like a honking kind of sound to it. Well, it's a horn. It would make sense if it sounded like it honked a little bit. All right. So I guess at this point, what would be a good thing to do is like the way that most of the time you're going to play this instrument is going to be a mix of all of these. But let's see what it sounds like if we put them all on. All right. So the Solina playing everything from the MPC version of it. Let's look at that. Let's look at the Behringer version of the same thing. Look at the clarity of the resolution of the wave as it goes forward. Look at this. Compared to the Solina. You guys seen that? So that's what I wanted to get across. Hardware synths, this is the case with the TO5. That thing is so high resolution. Like it sounds so clean. Low registers, high registers, it's super, super clean. And actually the Solina Behringer is clean. It's a clean instrument. And that's kind of what I wanted to get across too. It's like, you know, why would you spend 200 euro for a piece of equipment that basically comes as a plug-in with your MPC? Well, hopefully that explains it a little bit. Look, I'm a total hybrid producer, meaning that like for me, VST, software, all that stuff, I use it, love it, all that stuff. Hardware, same, right? But I want to show you guys sometimes you can actually see and hear the difference. That can kind of affect your music, you know, because sometimes if you're getting muddy mixes or something like that, you might be getting mud in the source or something. So guys, to get us out of here, let me just play you a little bit of Solina so you get a feeling for why it's a cool instrument. It's like basically, if you're into Pink Floyd, if you're into Air, if you're into that kind of 70s nostalgic kind of sound, this is basically the string instrument that was used on so many records. So anyway, thanks guys. Talk to you soon.